Imagine this. You're a soldier in the ancient world, standing before an enemy fortress, gripping a wooden ladder. Arrows whistle past your head, stones crash down, and boiling oil hisses as it splashes onto your comrades. The men around you are cut down one by one, yet you climb higher, knowing that reaching the top is almost certain death. And yet, you fight to be the first one up. Why? What could possibly drive men to compete for such a fate? The answer lies in one of the most coveted military awards of the ancient world, the corona muralis, the mural crown. In ancient Rome, this golden crown, shaped like the walls of a city, was the ultimate symbol of battlefield glory. Unlike modern military medals, which can be awarded posthumously, this prize was only given to the first soldier to successfully scale an enemy wall during a siege. If you died, tough luck. But if you survived, your life would change forever. One of the most famous battles where this played out was the Roman siege of New Carthage in 209 BC. The brilliant general Scipio Africanus led his army in an attack on the heavily fortified city, knowing that speed was crucial. If the Romans didn't take New Carthage fast, Carthaginian reinforcements would arrive, and the siege would turn into a brutal, drawn-out conflict. Scipio's plan was simple but audacious: attack from multiple sides, exhaust the defenders, and exploit any opening. The first attack in the morning failed. The defenders rained down everything they had: spears, arrows, stones, and the Romans were forced to retreat. But Scipio wasn't done. He immediately ordered a second assault the same day. The defenders, having spent most of their ammunition in the first attack, were caught off guard. Meanwhile, Scipio had a secret plan in motion. 500 elite Roman soldiers had secretly crossed a lagoon and were creeping up to the city's northern wall. As the main Roman force kept the defenders occupied, these 500 men scaled the walls, completely unopposed. Once inside, they threw open the city gates, and the Roman army flooded in. New Carthage had fallen. After the battle, 2 men stepped forward, each claiming to be the first to have scaled the wall: Quintus Trebellius, a centurion from the 4th Legion, and Sextus Digitus, a marine from the naval forces. Both had risked their lives, and both wanted the corona muralis. Their units were so fiercely loyal to them that the dispute almost turned into a violent battle between the Romans themselves. To avoid bloodshed, Scipio appointed arbiters to settle the matter. Their decision: both men had reached the top at the same time. In an extremely rare move, they were both awarded the corona muralis. Why did these men risk everything for this? Because in Rome, military success meant everything. The Roman world revolved around virtus, a concept that embodied bravery, masculinity, and excellence in battle. To win glory in war was to win power, wealth, and influence. Soldiers who received the corona muralis weren't just celebrated. They were practically catapulted into fame and fortune. They were given financial rewards, public recognition, and often political power. The Roman people worshipped their military heroes, and the winners of such prestigious awards often rose through the ranks of Roman society. In fact, the gens Trebellia, the family of Quintus Trebellius, first appeared in history because of his achievement at New Carthage. His descendants went on to hold important positions in the late Republic and early imperial period. One of them, Marcus Trebellius Maximus, even became consul in 55 AD. A single act of bravery, being the first to reach the top of a siege ladder, could define an entire family's legacy. But make no mistake, winning the corona muralis was almost impossible. The first man up the ladder had to dodge arrows, javelins, and stones, all while climbing a fragile wooden structure that defenders would try to set on fire or push over. If he somehow reached the top, he would be completely alone against a wave of enemy soldiers ready to cut him down. More often than not, the first men up the wall never came back down alive. And yet, again and again, Roman soldiers fought to be that man. This tradition of rewarding the first soldier over a city wall didn't end with Rome. During the Middle Ages, knights who performed similar acts of bravery were often granted knighthood or land. The idea that individual heroism could change one's fate persisted for centuries. However, in the early modern period, warfare evolved. Group cohesion and discipline became more important than individual heroics. The days of rewarding a lone warrior's charge up the walls were over. But in the brutal world of ancient Rome, where honor and status were won on the battlefield, the race to be the first up the ladder wasn't just about courage. It was about power, ambition, and the desperate desire to be remembered. These men weren't just fighting for Rome. They were fighting for immortality. Yet, for centuries after Rome, the idea of the lone warrior defying death for glory remained deeply ingrained in military culture. During the Middle Ages, siege warfare remained brutal, but the rewards for courage changed. Instead of a golden crown, knights who led the charge over enemy walls were often granted land, titles, or even knighthood itself. In an age where nobility and status were everything, storming a fortress first could elevate a mere foot soldier into the ranks of the aristocracy. For a man of low birth, this was a chance at a new life, one where he could command men instead of taking orders. Many medieval rulers understood the power of individual bravery. Some, like William the Conqueror, personally led their men in battle, setting an example of fearlessness. Others, like Richard the Lionheart, built reputations as warrior kings by rewarding those who displayed extraordinary courage. Knights who breached castle walls first could expect riches, prestige, and sometimes even royal favor. The desire for battlefield glory never faded, it just adapted to the times. However, as the Renaissance and early modern warfare reshaped the battlefield, the focus shifted. The era of personal heroics gave way to tightly coordinated formations, professional standing armies, and mass firepower. By the time of the pike and shot era, in which armies relied on gunpowder weapons, elaborate siege tactics replaced reckless charges. Instead of rewarding individuals for daring assaults, commanders now emphasize discipline, strategy, and collective effort. In the age of musket lines and cannon bombardments, individual acts of bravery became secondary to maintaining formation under fire. Charging up a ladder into a hail of bullets was no longer seen as an act of supreme courage. It was suicidal and undisciplined. Over time, the rewards shifted from honoring a single daring soldier to recognizing the success of entire regiments. By the Napoleonic Wars, personal heroics still existed, but they were no longer the key to military advancement. Napoleon himself promoted men based on merit, but individual glory on the battlefield was now often overshadowed by tactical brilliance and command ability. The modern battlefield had no place for a single man racing to be first into the fray. But does that mean the spirit of the siege ladder warriors is gone? Not entirely. Even today, acts of extraordinary battlefield bravery are still honored. Medals of honor, Victoria Crosses, and other high decorations are awarded to soldiers who risk everything against overwhelming odds. The weapons and tactics may have changed, but the age-old drive for glory, honor, and immortality through battle still lingers. So while no modern soldier is racing to be first up a siege ladder, the insane bravery of those who did remains legendary. Their names have echoed through history, proving one undeniable truth: some men will always choose to charge into death, if it means they'll be remembered forever.